Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I will make review on some piece of code for someone shared on LinkedIn and allow the engineer to make review. So I just copy the piece of code and I want to make review on my channel YouTube. So let's get started. So this is the piece of code I just copied from LinkedIn and paste on my own editor, and let's make review on this piece of code first. So let's explain fast what this code uh, return. So this is get method and apply on the search path. So take request and return with the response. Okay. Now I want to search. I will pass query parameter. Okay, and here execute SQL. Okay, query. So select all from product where name like, and I will pass my query and return the result as JSON. Now this piece of code was written by some developer, and I saw a large mistake and really some mistake danger and related with security. I will talk later. So here what the most danger is the developer that write this code open the door for SQL injection. This is the first, because what, for example, let's make the user want to search. Okay, search, and I want to make query equal to, for example, here select all from product where name like. Let's assume this in e-commerce system, and I want to search, for example, on iPhone. Okay, iPhone. So this query, it will be replaced here. So I want to select all from product where name like iPhone. So the database return with the product related with iPhone. Okay, so this is normal, but what is the most danger? What if the someone instant to search on specific or clear or normal items? For example, search on, for example, this single quote or one equal to one. One equal to one dash dash. Okay, so this, what does it mean? So the select all from product where name like, let's replace here. Okay, like here is return as false, or one equal to one SQL return as true dash dash. This ignore all this after the dash dash. Okay, so it will ignore this, don't execute. Now select all from product where name like, so false or true. Okay, and in the SQL statement, false or true, it will return true, and will ignore all after this two double dash. So what the SQL return? It return all the product. So the attacker can get all your product with this just input. So this is called the SQL injection. So this is really dangerous. The attacker can apply on user, for example, get all your user, can make danger operation, can update your product, delete your product. So this is really security issue and popular vulnerability on the web applications. Now, how we can prevent from this SQL injection? I want to use parameterized query. So I want to separate my own SQL and my own input data. So how I can do? First, I want to separate my own SQL. SQL. Let I want to just copy this to separate inside variable. Okay, and here like I want to make $1. So this, what does it mean? This does mean I will provide the value later. Okay, so I in the SQL I don't provide the value inside the SQL statement. Now in the query I will just pass two parameters. The first is SQL and the second I want to pass my own query. Okay, so I want to pass my own query. Now my query know what is SQL and know what is the data input by the user. So the SQL execute as SQL and my query execute as query. And here, wherever the attacker send the input like this to make SQL injection and get all your data, one equal to one, sorry, one equal to one dash dash. So here it will, the SQL command, it execute as a string, not as a command. So if you send this, the SQL return, for example, or the backend return, or the database return with, for example, no product found or nothing to return. But that the SQL don't execute this because I separate my SQL and my own user data. So this called the parameterized query. So this is the first issue, security. The second issue is here. The when someone search on iPhone, okay, and the SQL return all the data contain iPhone. So if there is, for example, 100,000 item, it return all this 100,000 item. But the user expect, for example, to just the item start with iPhone, for example, iPhone, or for example, iPhone 11 or iPhone 12, or for example 7, 17 Pro Max. Okay, so 17 Pro Max. So the user expect, I want iPhone, I want to get all the data start with iPhone, not contain the iPhone. So here the number of record will be low than the data contain the iPhone. So how to do is just to remove this character and keep this. So this return all the data start with iPhone, not contain the iPhone. Okay, so this is how we can correct. The third mistake here, never get all the column or the attribute that you don't use or the user don't need. Here we can just send or return with the ID, with the name, with the price, okay, maybe the quantity, but never get all the attribute that you don't use and or maybe the user don't need. So because select all from product take time than specific some attribute. Okay, the other things that we can add also, for example, we get the data that start with query or the keyword you put by the user with specific attribute just the user need, or I can work with it. But the problem here, what if you have for example 1 million product or 100 of product? Here we should use pagination to reduce the time to fetch the data for the user. So here we make, for example, where name like, and I provide the value. Okay, I will order by name and make pagination offset 0 and limit, so let's make uppercase limit. So here on each page I will just return 20 products. Okay, the next page, for example the first page 1, I will return 20 product. The next page 2, I will return the next 20 product different than the first, and etc. So this reduce the time and make the query fast. So thank you for watching, and I will make another video if you want for this topic to review the code and how I optimize.